Today I want to explain to you why I think your tech idea may not get the chance to innovate the way you hoped it would. You've heard us talk about product teams before on this channel. Small, cross-functional teams that are working together to solve problems, design solutions, build technology, and to adapt to an ever-changing world. And you know, digital transformation is an ongoing process. It's not just a switch from paper to computers, or local servers to the cloud, or landlines to cell phones. Digital transformation is about process. It's about technology and tools, and it's definitely about people. Let's say you've outgrown the current SaaS tool that you bought off the shelf. Or let's say that you needed a more custom solution to yourself and you actually did start building your own product, but you're not seeing the results that you hoped for. So you're asking yourself, how do we get this right? How does digital transformation actually take place? What I'm going to suggest to you may be a little surprising. So you could pour all of your energy straight into technology, or maybe you just optimize your processes. I want to be clear, these things are important. Technology is part of digital transformation, and process is how we get things done. But I would wager that actually what you're missing is people. Or more specifically, roles and perspectives of these roles. Let's start with those core roles that most people think about on a product team. Of course, there's the idea person. That might be leadership or a product owner. This might be a director, executive, or just some type of lead. Developers. I just need more devs. We hear this so often, but the product may not be validated or may not be a great user experience. So we add designers. But now we have two competing agendas: form and function. So now we need someone who can help these people work together to bring these ideas to life. Let's meet our product manager. Understanding user needs, stakeholder desires, unique value prop, and working with the team to prioritize the right approach. We've got it. That's a great start. That's a good, solid core product team. Designers, developers, and product managers. But who's missing? It depends on the stage of your project, but I want to run through a roster of all the roles or people that maybe you should be considering at least to be involved in the conversation, or is going to need to be involved in the conversation at some point. One little disclaimer, these might be separate individuals, or they might be the same individual, or maybe one person that's wearing multiple hats. If your team's still small, like a startup or an early innovation team, you have to wear multiple hats. But as the organization grows and your responsibilities grow, you really need to be making sure that these roles are all accounted for across your team. First, research or business analyst or someone who's going to do the recon work to find out what's the best problem to solve right now. To spend some time with the customer, spend some time with the user to really understand the problem as much as physically possible. 2, strategy. What if? Who's that person that's going to ask you what if? Who's that person that's going to ask you how might we? Who's that person that's going to challenge the team to think outside the box? Test engineering, quality assurance, or quality in general. Who's the person that's making sure that the product is releasing at the level that it should be? You can do this through both automation and through manual testing, but making sure that someone is dedicated to making sure the product is really good quality, that's a test engineer. Marketing and sales. Oftentimes what will happen is that sales will sell an idea or even maybe promise that something exists, and then the product team has to go figure out how to build it. But why isn't marketing and sales involved with the team? Get them involved in the conversation so that you can be working together to make decisions on what's best for their potential customers. Security. Guys, it's 2021. You have to be thinking about security for all of your products. So that might be pen testing, that might be compliance, that might be how you're storing your information. What things do you have to do? What things should you do? You have to bring security to the table as early as possible. Customer advocate or customer advisory board even. Who's the person that actually represents your potential customer? That actually might be your potential customer, that really trusted person that you can go say, should it be this way? Can we do it better? Can we do it different? Does this really matter to you? Change management. If you're building a product for an internal team, or if you're expecting a part of your internal organization to use your product, you have to think about, just like marketing and sales, Someone needs to get buy-in inside the organization that people will use this. And that's change management. Who's gonna bring this out to the team? Copywriters. So this may not be a marketing advertising campaign, and we often think of copywriters as a person that's really focused on just like, how do we get the word out about the product? There's a big move towards UX copywriting. So what I mean by that is, who's thinking about the wording inside of your app? How it introduces a person to the different forms and functions inside the tool, or how it actually gets people to engage in the proper way through notifications. This is all really nuanced copywriting. So a great copywriter can make all the difference. And finally, the ever-elusive data scientist. So as your product starts to grow and you start to get larger and larger sets of data, you have to figure out, what do we do with the insights that are inside that information? How do we look at the way that people are using the product? How do I look at the types of demographics or the types of different ways to splice the data that we have to work with? Going to the next level, how do you bring that back to the development team to think about building algorithms and machine learning and artificial intelligence to build insights directly back into your product? So, who's missing on your team? Who's not there, or what role isn't accounted for? Look around. Yes, at this stage of the project, the early stage, you may not need all those folks. But be preparing yourself to think about each of those roles being brought into the conversation at the right time. Not being thrown something over a wall, as we've talked about before, but making sure that they're a part of the decisions that you're making. So let us know who's missing on your team. Drop us a comment below or send us a message, because what we're curious about is, what are the common roles from that list, or maybe something we didn't even mention, that you find just aren't at the table, and maybe you think they should be. Digital transformation is this combination of both process, technology and tools, and people. But what it's really about is making sure that you're bringing together the right roles, the right capabilities, the right tools and processes, and bringing them closer together so that you can make decisions to do the best work possible together. So maybe this work can transform our teams, our individuals, and maybe our world.